Hi guys, welcome back to day 7 of the 12 days of foundation. I'm testing out a foundation every day for 12 days on my super oily skin. I will link to my previous videos down below along with my oily skin diary series, which is just a regular occurring series on my channel where I test out foundations. Today I'm going to be wearing it throughout the day, show you application, flash photo. We'll see how it holds up on my oily skin. This one actually is supposed to be built to last on oily skin and it has been very requested, so I'm super excited to do this review for you guys. It is the One Heck of a Blot Foundation from Soap & Glory, so let's get started. This foundation is available at Ulta. It retails for about $19 USD, and then on the Soap & Glory website it retails for about 12 or 14 pounds. I cannot find it anywhere in Canada. Let me know down below if you're able to track it down. Soap & Glory is available at Shoppers Drug Mart, but they don't seem to carry the full line of products. So if you have any Canadian hookups, be sure to let us know down below. As I mentioned, it retails for 19 bucks. You get a full fluid ounce in here, which is the average size for any foundation. Plastic bottle, you can see the product through, so you can see the shade, which is always helpful. And then it comes with a pump, which I know 99% of us enjoy. The one bummer here is that it comes in 4 different shades, which is kind of to be expected from a brand like this. They definitely focus on more bath and body care, but it would be nice to see them extend the range, hopefully sooner than later. I'm wearing the shade Caramel, and I'm about an NC42, NC43 in MAC for reference. So let's go ahead and get into the application. I'm going to use a dampened beauty blender on one side and then an e.l.f. buffing kind of brush on this side. We'll see how it goes, and I will also show you how it looks in flash photo. On the Ulta website, it says, fabulous, flawless, full coverage. Soap & Glory's One Heck of a Blot Foundation is an all-day liquid to powder foundation with Shine Block 12-hour long wear technology and super blur powders. Offers ultimate shine control designed to give skin a flawless, non-cakey, soft focus finish. Perfection in a bottle. It suggests using your fingers or a brush to dab a few dots of the foundation in the center of your forehead, nose, and chin, and then blending outwards. I've built up the foundation to about a medium coverage. It doesn't really list if it's supposed to be like light, medium, or full, but I got it to about medium. I did a light layer and then built it up a little bit more. I feel like this is a foundation you've got to work fairly quickly with because it definitely actually dries down to a powder finish, and if I touch my face it doesn't feel like cakey or sticky or anything like that. So if your skin is normal or even combo, you may not need to powder. Myself, I always powder no matter what because I'm incredibly oily. I'm gonna go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup now, and it'll be interesting to see how my concealer goes on because this is basically a powder foundation that I have on my skin right now, but I do like the coverage. I can see, however, if you do have larger pores on your face or any texture or dry spots, this would definitely catch. So I have the rest of my makeup on now. Everything went on really nicely, including my concealer. However, I would not advise putting like cream highlight or cream powder or anything on top of that. I can see it definitely like lifting up and moving around. I didn't have a problem, but like I feel like if I had really manipulated my face much more, it would not like that at all. As I mentioned, I did powder lightly, but I'm not wearing a primer or a setting spray. I think that my skin looks really good. I got a nice medium coverage out of it, and it kind of covered up that big old pimple I had there on my face. And in photos, it looks good. In my regular lighting, it looks nice. I did add some highlight to my skin, so I get a little bit of extra glow, but otherwise it looks quite matte without it. And then in flash photos, I do get a little bit of flashback. It's not listed as having SPF in there, but it could be some of like the powders or whatever they have in there to make it a liquid to powder foundation. But I will check back with you guys at the end of the day. It is currently 7:38. It's now 5:22 p.m., so the end of my day, or my makeup day anyways. As you can see, I'm definitely oily, but that being said, the oils only really started to come through on my skin about 2 or 3 hours ago. Everything else really stayed in place. My bronzer or I'm not wearing a bronzer today, my blush and my highlight, nothing moved around. I will say in the center of my face, it definitely is kind of showing off my pores a little bit, and the color match is just slightly off. It's almost like it's got a flashback without flash being on it, just like in your everyday life. It almost has this weird white cast to it. But I'm just going to blot. We'll see how it reacts to being blotted, because that is kind of how I would go about my day normally. Definitely some oil coming through, but as I mentioned, I'm definitely like on the highest of oily sides, so my face doesn't really put up with much I feel like it's being lifted off slightly as I'm blotting. So now that I have blotted and put on just a little bit of powder, I can say that it looks slightly cakey on my skin, but the biggest issue I am really coming across is that there really is a difference between where my concealer ends and my foundation begins. That could be on account of me kind of waiting a good bit of time. My foundation had completely set basically before I put on my concealer. So if you do use this, try and do that kind of at the same time, like even put on your concealer first, then your foundation, then a little bit more concealer. Something along those lines, because the foundation does set to such a powder finish that putting a cream on top can act a little bit odd. Now that I've done my blotting and powdering, I can say that this would definitely not be good for people with dry skin, as you may have gathered. If you have normal to combination skin, I think that this could react nicely. And if you have oily skin, unfortunately, this is not going to be like the heavenly savior that I thought it might have been, which is unfortunate, but I can definitely see myself mixing this into other foundations the same way that I love to mix in my L'Oreal Pro Matte. The color on this one is just a little bit off, and I think that it's just going to be a really nice mixing foundation. It's got quite a thick texture, so that's something you want to keep in mind when mixing. You do want to mix it in with something that is a similar texture, but overall I think that this is okay. It of course is, you know, not the savior we thought it was going to be, but it did a pretty good job holding up against this super oily skin. Be sure to check out the rest of my 12 days of foundation down below, and I will have another video for you up tomorrow. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!